Hi, in a series of banking topics, today we'll see what is a commercial bank, what is a cooperative bank, how flow of funds come into cooperative banks, and also urban cooperative banks. So these are whether they are controlled. I will cover in this video in a form of question and answer sessions so that it will be easier for you to understand about this. So what is a commercial bank? A commercial bank, you are all aware, is prescribed under the second schedule of Reserve Bank of India Act. It accepts deposits for the purpose of lending and investments. So the interest rate offered on deposits like savings and fixed deposit, and the interest rate on lending, the gap between these two is profit. So commercial banks are totally profit oriented. So what is the income source? As we already discussed, the main source of income is the difference between deposit rate and lending rate. So what are the main commercial banks which you have been seeing? State Bank of India, ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, HDFC Bank, and many more banks like Karur Vysya banks. What are the three types of commercial banks we have? One is public sector bank, which is partially owned by central government and partially by the investors. Then private sector banks, which is privately owned, that is inclusive of foreign banks also. And then we have cooperative banks. So what is meant by cooperative bank? Cooperative banks are financial entities established on a cooperative basis and belonging to their members. This means that the customers of a cooperative bank are also its owners. These banks provide a wide range of regular banking and financial services. What are the types of cooperative banks we have? We all know that primary credit societies, central cooperative bank, and state cooperative banks. How does a cooperative bank work? It is a financial entity engaged in the business of collecting deposits and lending like any other commercial bank. But they function on the principle of cooperation and sharing profits with members. They offer services essentially to members who are shareholders of the bank. Are cooperative banks governed by RBI? The Reserve Bank regulates the banking functions of state level cooperative banks, district cooperative banks, urban cooperative banks under the provisions of section 22 and 23 of Banking Regulation Act. So what is the difference between a commercial bank and a cooperative bank? Commercial bank is a bank that is formed for the commercial purpose and its primary aim is profit. On the other hand, cooperative banks are owned and operated by the members for a common purpose, that is to provide financial services to agriculture and small businessmen. So this is the main difference. So what are the objectives of cooperative bank? To provide rural financing and microfunding, to remove the dominance of money lenders and middlemen, to provide credit services to agriculturists and weaker sections of the society at a comparatively lower rates. What are the advantages of this kind of cooperative banks? They provide effective alternate to the traditional defective credit system of the village money lenders. It provides cheap credit to masses in rural areas. Cooperative banks have discouraged unproductive borrowing, personal consumption, and have established the culture of productive borrowing. This is very important. Are cooperative banks safe? Of course, they are safe. They are insured by Deposit Insurance Credit Guarantee Corporation, DICGC, which is 100% subsidiary of the Reserve Bank of India. How do cooperative banks make money? Banks generally make money by borrowing from the depositors and compensating with a certain interest rate. The banks will lend the money out to borrowers, charging the borrowers at a slightly higher interest rate and profiting of the interest spread from this interest spread. Who owns cooperative banks in India? Cooperative banks are owned by their customers and follow cooperative principle and one person, one vote. Cooperative banks are often regulated under both banking and cooperative regulation. So as we explained, the Banking Regulation Act as well as Cooperative Bank Act Cooperative Act will be regulating the cooperative banks. So what is the flow of funds for cooperative banks? Like commercial concerns, cooperatives are financial in a variety of ways. They may get their operating funds from 1. Membership fees. Number 2. Common or preferred stocks on bonds. Then third, borrowing from the banks or from other sources. These are the 4 ways they get the finances. Flow of funds account is a systematic record of net financial transactions involving financial instruments during 1 year. Issues in compiling the data of flow from the cooperative sector. What are the issues we get it? Point number 1. Problem with cooperative banking system is lack of timely data. Number 2, the data is delayed due to delay in submission of data by the agencies from lower tiers and delay in audit process. Point number 3, the data comes through registrar of cooperatives who reportedly do not have sufficient supporting technical and physical manpower to collect the data pertaining to non-credit cooperatives. Point number 4, one reason for delay is prevalence of semi-manual compilation and transmission of data at all levels. So these are the 4 reasons for delay in getting the proper data within the stipulated time. Okay, we are coming to the last topic. What is urban cooperative bank? The term urban cooperative bank, though not formally defined, refers to primary cooperative banks located in urban and semi-urban areas. These banks till 1996 were allowed to lend money only for non-agriculture purpose. So who regulates urban cooperative banks? Urban cooperative banks are supervised under Registrar of Cooperative Societies. However, the power to issue banking licenses and regulate, supervise and develop banking functions of urban cooperative banks are vested with Reserve Bank of India by virtue of Banking Regulation Act 1949. So what are the functions of urban cooperative banks? Urban cooperative banks was established to fulfill financial needs of urban people like laborers, artisans, small trader, craftsmen, salary earners, etc. To relieve them from the clutches of moneylenders, to provide personal loans, and to increase the habit of saving and thrift, such banks are established. The last question, how many urban cooperative banks are there in India? There are 1539 urban cooperative banks in India by end of March 2020. These cooperative banks are located in urban and semi-urban areas. So now in today's topic we have seen commercial banks, cooperative banks, flow of funds in a cooperative bank and urban cooperative bank. I hope this topic is useful for the students who are learning banking. Thank you very much for patiently watching. Bye.